Hi, I'm Christine Cook from Positive Energy Fitness and Health, and I want to show you a flexibility and mobility routine you can do at home with very little equipment and in a short amount of time. Flexibility refers to how long and supple that muscle is, how it can extend and recover. So you want to have flexibility in your muscles so that you can move with ease and reduce injury. Mobility is talking about how the joints respond to the flexibility of the muscles. If you have tight muscles, the mobility of those joints is very limited. So when we're talking about flexibility and mobility, those are those two terms, and they're very, very interconnected. We want mobility and we want flexibility, and we really can't have one without the other. So the exercises or the routine I'm going to show you today is going to involve a little bit of mobility and flexibility work. But again, it's all connected. So for this, I want you to come and sit on down. You're going to need to have something with you that you can use as a prop. So either an old man's tie, a rope, or if you have a band, it's a great tool to use as well. So one of those things is going to be necessary for this routine. For the first thing I'd like you to do is I want you to take yourself nice and wide. Your hands are behind you, sitting up nice and tall, feet are wide, and just drop your knees one side and then the other. One side and then the other. This is more of a mobility motion. We're warming up that hip joint and heating up your body. Anytime you go to do some mobility, the flexibility work, you want to be sure the muscles are slightly warmed up. The best time is to do it after a workout, a strength routine, or a cardio workout. But if you're just working on mobility just before you go to bed, perhaps, this is a great way to get the blood flowing and the muscles ready to stretch. From here, come and reach with one arm in that same direction that your knees are, coming up onto your knees and then bringing it down, going to the other side. So move at your own pace. Don't worry about my pace. I don't know if you can hear. I just had a nice little crack, I think, in my hip here. That's to be expected. As long as it doesn't hurt, that's just fine. So side to side. If you feel like you need to do that a little bit more to get your muscles warmed up to be really ready to do some stretching, please take the time and do a little bit more. You can just pause this video and then join me when you're ready. We'll move on to hamstring stretch. I'm going to use my band for this. Come on down, put the band under your right foot and extend on up. Now here you want to make sure that the knee is straight. And take a look at my knee. If I have a slight bend, I'm really shutting off a great deal of this stretch. If I straighten out that knee without locking it, I will really get a much deeper stretch on that hamstring. So using your breathing, try to relax into your stretch. You want to hold your stretches to really get the most benefit of your stretch. If you just do a quick stretch, you're really not going to get those benefits that you would if you were able to hold it for longer. So the best timing is at least 20 seconds, but if you have more time, more is actually one of those times that more is actually a little bit better. But if you can, 20 seconds is a great way to hold a stretch, great length to hold it. From here, you can make this more intense by straightening out your leg that's on the ground. That's going to increase the intensity of this hamstring stretch. Now put the band just in your right hand. Your left hand comes out to your side to balance you. Take this right foot and very gently start dropping it over to the left. Your right shoulder needs to stay on the ground, so only go as far as that allows. Once you're in your stretch, just hold and again use your breathing to relax. If it feels good for you, you can make this a full spinal twist by taking your head and looking over your right shoulder. And when you're ready, engage your core, belly button pulls in, then move that leg back on up. And now take that left foot, bring it back to the ground. Band comes in your left hand. Right hand now comes out to balance you. And I want you to drop your left knee out and your right leg out, getting inner thigh stretches for both legs. Again, closing your eyes can help you really think about the muscle you're trying to lengthen. Doing your breathing will help extend that stretch as well. And now bring that knee back to the center, strong core, leg comes back to the center. And now we're going to do a little mobility on that hip, grabbing your band or your tie or your rope with both hands. Draw some circles with your heel. And if there's one part of that circle that feels a little sticky or a little bit tight, just hold it there and let some breath come into that sticky spot. And you can rotate it in the other direction. And now take that out of your foot. If you want to do it more, just pause. Take your ankle, cross it over your bent knee, your bent leg, and just gently reach through and pull very gently, working on getting a stretch on your outer thigh and gluteal muscle on the right side. Breathe and relax. That should feel really good. And now, just let's do a little comparison. So bring both feet to the ground, and now extend out both legs, and see if you feel a difference between right and left. My right leg feels like it's about a foot longer than my left leg right now. So let's even ourselves out and do the same pattern on that left side. So your band is underneath your left foot, holding on, straighten out that knee, not locked, but straight to get the full benefit of your hamstring stretch. Using your breathing, just relax into your stretches. Breathe and relax. If your muscle so if you've just done a strength routine or a cardio routine, your muscles might shake when you go to do your flexibility work. If it is shaking, it is not stretching, and you can't win over that. So if your muscle is shaking at all, release the stretch until it stops shaking, maybe give it a little movement, and then get back into it when it's ready. It may not be ready right away. You might need to wait a little bit, but the contraction is always going to win. You can't stretch through it. So just use your breathing, see if you can relax into your stretch. Take your right leg, straightening it out onto the ground. You might need to loosen it up a little bit on that left to be able to do that. Take the band just in your left hand. Right hand comes out to balance you. Take your left leg and gently lower it towards the right. We're working on your outer thigh, hip, and gluteal muscle on that left side, getting a nice stretch. That should feel really good. Again, keep your left shoulder towards the ground. It may come up a little bit, but you want to focus on keeping it towards the ground. To extend the stretch and get more of a spinal twist, look over that left shoulder. And breathe and relax. Engage your core first, then gently lift that leg on up to the center and bringing your right foot back onto the ground. Take the band just in your right hand. Left hand comes out to balance you. Drop your left leg and your right knee, getting a nice inner thigh stretch. Breathe and relax. Should feel an inner thigh stretch, mostly on that left leg, but a little bit on the right as well. Again, before you do any movement, engage your core first, then bring the leg and the knee back to center. Holding onto the band with both hands, draw some circles with your heel. As that feels good or better, maybe that circle gets a little bit bigger. We hold a lot of tension and stress in our hips. This is a great way to release some of that. Going around in the other direction. And release that band from your foot. Take your left ankle, cross it over onto your right thigh. Reach through, grab your right thigh, and gently bring it in. Stretching through your gluteal muscle and your hip on the left side. That should feel really good. Again, closing your eyes to help you relax into your stretch. Breathe and relax. And uncross that leg, grab behind your thighs, and it might take a couple of rolls, but roll yourself on up to seated. Next, we're going to come on over to your stomach. And I want you to come back and grab your left ankle. If you need to, use your tie or your band to loop around your foot. And then pull gently. That works as well. If you can't reach your ankle, use your strap or your tie or your rope. Gently push your left hip into the ground. We want to feel this on your quadricep, which is the front of your thigh, not in your knee. If you feel it in your knee, let go of that stretch a bit. You want to feel it in the front of your thigh. And let's switch to the other side. Come and grab that ankle, press your hip into the ground. And again, breathe. Think about the muscles that you're trying to lengthen. The more mind-muscle connection you can make, the greater benefit you'll get from your stretch. Also great to be able to tune into your body a little bit. And when you're ready, release that. Come up onto all fours. I want you to come and bring your knees a little bit wider than your hips. I have mine on the edge of my mat. If that feels good for you, you can do that as well. And your hands come forward and you bring your hips back. So at first I was up on my toes. That gives a little less stretch, a little bit more for beginner if you're feeling tight, but on the tops of your feet, bringing your hips back gives you a little bit more range of motion. Now walk your arms on over to one side and walk your arms on over to the other side. Come back to the center and come on up onto all fours. From here, you're going to do a cat stretch. So just like a cat does, and then flatten, and do that a couple of times. Let's do it 4 times. And last one, like a cat, and then flat. And now look at one ankle and look at the other. Getting that C curve in your spine. Mobility, making sure those muscles and joints are moving in all the great ways that they can move. And now come back to the center, walking on up, hands behind your back, stretch on up through your chest. You can gently lift your arms away from your body,
but might be just holding here is enough. If even holding your hands is not accessible to you, use your strap or your band or your tie and hold on like so. And just gently opening up your chest and your shoulders. We do a lot of forward motion in our computers and with our phones. This is a great way to undo some of that. And last, standing it on up with your strong leg here, pushing on your leg, come to center and stretch out your triceps. So just one arm comes behind. And then your other arm. And release that. And I always like to end a flexibility or strength, a flexibility routine with a nice big inhale and exhale. Excellent. Working on your flexibility again is one of the best ways that you can prevent injury. Stretching after a strength routine or after your cardiovascular exercise is a great time to add your flexibility because the muscles are nice and warm. You can stretch every day. It's not like other exercises where we're telling you to do every other day. Every day for stretching is fine. If you want to increase your flexibility at least 3 times a week is necessary. 5 will get you there even faster. And one of my favorite recommendations for people is to stretch right before you go to bed. If you can do this routine right before you go to bed, think about this. You crawl into bed and those muscles are not asked to engage. They can stay in that nice lengthened position you just had them in for a longer time than if you did your stretching and then went about your day. Then your muscles have to get back into their active work. You want to be sure to not do this type of routine before you're asking your muscles to do something really strenuous. So you don't want to do your flexibility routine and then your strength routine, because what we're doing when we stretch it, we're relaxing those muscles and we're lengthening them. To ask them to then do something could lead to injury. So be sure that you're doing it after, when you're really not going to call upon your muscles to do a whole lot. There is your flexibility routine. I hope it was helpful and relaxing to your body. Thank you.